What is up, everybody? This is Rebecca Johnson of Supergirl Radio. We're going to get started here in a second to talk about Supergirl 1996 through 2003, annual number 1. That is a mouthful, but you got to say the numbers in there. You got to say the years because there's a lot of Supergirl things, including annuals. So Morgan is going to join us shortly, but just wanted to introduce the stream to Bill Meeks. Although if you're a longtime Supergirl Radio listener or viewer, you would know who Bill Meeks is. He's a friend of the podcast, a Supergirl Radio Katie McGrath Christmas movie consultant. We've had him the expert in that field, so we've had him on for that. And also, if you see our opening titles where I'm fussing at Meeksy, that is the Mix Chespitalik character designed and named after Bill Meeks. So
so that's him right up on my wall behind me.
Yeah, so that's the origin of Meeksy. So we are going to be joined by Bill to talk about these 3 issues that we are going to be covering here. And I'm going to bring Morgan in if you're ready to go. Morgan, are you good to go? Okay, good. It puts you in the right place. I was worried like we'd have to reshuffle everything.
Could you imagine?
It knows where you're supposed to be, I guess.
It understands.
Okay, so we should all have the Google Doc and our recaps and things. We've got some news to talk about because some Puppy Bowl stuff happened, and that is apparently how we get Supergirl news. So we'll be talking about the Puppy Bowl and things that came out of that, and some 3 Supergirl stories that I think we need to provide historical context for. So we'll be discussing some of that as well. But I think if we're ready to go, we will go ahead and get started.
McGurk! I love
typing. Not mess
typing.
with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because her outfit.
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Welcome to Supergirl Radio, your source for all things related to the character of Kara Zor-El, and sometimes Linda Danvers, and sometimes other versions of Supergirl that are part of a legend of a dead Earth. So we cover all things Supergirl. My name is Rebecca Johnson.
I'm Morgan Glennon.
And for this episode of the podcast, we are live and wired to review Supergirl 1996 to 2003, annual number 1, which is actually made up of 3 stories titled The Surrogate, The Legend Lives On, and Shootout at Ice Flats. And with us to discuss all of these stories is our friend of the podcast, Bill Meeks. So, Bill, welcome back to Supergirl Radio. We've had you on many, many times, but it had been a while. And so you requested to maybe come back on, and I said, would you like to come on for some wacky stuff? And I think you were game for it.
Rebecca, you just blew up my spot that I had to ask for an invitation to Supergirl Radio.
I am so invitation.
But you know what? I think the Peter David run time frame, we might have to have you come back for an actual Peter David issue, because I think the Peter David run is actually something I kind of want your take on, because it is right up, I think, Bill Meeks' alley.
Yeah, it's like, drenched in theology and stuff like that, morality, and like, it's such a cool run. One of my favorite comic book runs, not just Supergirl or Superman family runs, but one of my favorite comic book runs of all time.
It is quite excellent once you get past the strangeness of some of the things that happen.
I mean, maybe the strangeness is part of its charm.
I think so.
That's what I've been enjoying the most.
It's very unique as a Supergirl story. There's nothing else like it. You can say that for sure. Well, we're so glad to have you back on the podcast. Even if maybe you pitched the idea to me, I was like, yes, we need to have Bill back on the podcast. If people are watching or listening and you have not been exposed to Bill Meeks before, we have several episodes with him on, so definitely go check him out, and we'll get you to plug all your stuff at the right now. Why don't you just quickly mention Everly Heights
right at the top?
Yeah, let's do right at the top so people can kind of check you out while we're going.
Sure. Since 2020, I've been writing stories in a fictional town in Ohio called Everly Heights. It's all based around the thematic idea, or question rather, is nostalgia a good thing or a bad thing? Now, I tell a lot of different kinds of stories in Everly Heights. I've done screenplays, TV pilots, and for the past 8 or 9 months, I've been doing an audio drama. It's an anthology series, Everly Heights Tales. You can find it on Apple Podcast or at everlyheights.tv and other podcast things, of course. But every episode is sort of just a little short story. Sometimes they're a bit longer, set in Everly Heights, different genres, different characters. And, Rebecca has been on 2 episodes now as a character named Clara Danvers, which you might...
I'm seeing
it feels familiar. Yeah, Bill continues to think I'm an actress, and I keep trying to tell him I'm not. I have no range. I cannot do this. But I do it because Bill is my friend, and he's very good at writing these scripts. So I try my best.
I have to say, this week's episode, "Make Your Own Luck," Rebecca's part in it is phenomenal. It's a Valentine's Day themed episode. It's a very kind of romantic episode, and I was impressed with how awkwardly romantic Rebecca could be.
I was playing to my strengths. But Bill writes very, very funny, well-written things. So if you're interested in audio dramas or narrative podcasts, things like that, Bill also made The Fakest and has done a lot of stuff with AI. So definitely go check out all of his original stories and some of his stuff on his YouTube channel. Highly recommend. Well, thank you for bringing your creative mind to the podcast this week. But before we get to discussing all of the stories that we need to talk about, we need to get to
the
news. A new look at Supergirl 2026 was released around the time of the Puppy Bowl on Animal Planet, and it offers us our first look at Crypto as a tiny little puppy, and also how he meets Kara Zor-El.
Yeah, Morgan, I'm curious, what did you think about all of this? It was kind of a retread with some things we had seen previously in the teaser trailer, but this had a focus strategically with the Puppy Bowl surrounding Crypto. So what did you think about Puppy Crypto?
I love Puppy Crypto. I would die for Puppy Crypto. He's so cute. It's not, in terms of teasers or like trailers for the movie, it's not anything we kind of haven't already seen, but we hadn't seen Puppy Crypto, and I think that is an important addition to the movie.
Yeah, the thing I like about it is that it does show that Crypto comes into Kara's life, seemingly, we're assuming, when Kara's mother dies. And so he is kind of like the comfort puppy for her. And I think that actually is pretty smart, because then it creates this bond between the two of them. And so if what happens in the comic book happens in the movie, you can understand why Kara would be so devastated. And so I think that creating that bond between them, I think is actually really smart.
Yeah, I think that's a great, that's a good addition to the story.
Yeah. Bill, do you have any thoughts about Puppy Crypto?
Puppy Crypto, awesome. Crypto's awesome just in general. I do like, as part of Puppy Crypto, all of the looks we're getting at, what is it, Argo City? If I have that right.
Yep.
Yeah. But, in all this Kryptonian culture, because that was one of the things that I walked away from Superman being a little bit like, how are they going to explain this? Like, what the revelations they made about, Jor-El's perspective and Kryptonian culture. So I think it's really cool that we're going to get, some time lived before she has to take off for Earth, and it looks really cool.
Yeah, I would like to think they are reversing what is typically done, where Superman's Kryptonian parents, they are the inventors and the saviors of the Kryptonian race, and Kara's parents are usually like the worst. And so I would like to think this time around, Kara's parents are like the good ones who have, figured everything out, and they're going to save people. And Kal-El's parents are just, nobody wants to do anything with them. So I would like to think that's what they're doing. But I want to say that David Krumholtz, who's playing Zor-El, Kara's father, mentioned something about how they were going to try to square away the Kryptonian stuff from the Superman movie. The only issue I have with this Puppy Bowl stuff, and we've got some more Puppy Bowl stuff to talk about, is that this is exactly what they did last year. Like, this is the same marketing move. They did this with Superman as well. Yeah, where they had a Crypto Puppy Bowl thing. And I was just like, aren't we just like going to be lazy about this? We're just like redoing.
What if they do it like for every movie, even if Crypto's not in it? It's just, Crypto just becomes the unofficial sponsor of the Puppy Bowl. And now we go to the Crypto Puppy Bowl.
counterpoint, what if they make sure Crypto's in every DC movie moving forward?
I would not be surprised.
Also okay with that.
But if he is Supergirl's dog, I think that also means that Supergirl has to be in every
I think
movie.
Supergirl just has
That's
to be
how
in
you're
all the
going to get people
movies.
to the theaters.
And then maybe they're all just kind of her movie.
I would be in that. Then I could always wear my just here for Supergirl shirt. And I would be right every time.
It's evergreen.
Is it a Batman movie? I'm just here for Supergirl.
I would be down to watch Crypto take on Clayface in that artsy Clayface movie they're doing. Like, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
just pop in for a scene.
Yeah, that would be new.
Crypto's it, and then of course the Crypto Super Bowl, the Puppy Bowl for next year. You know, when that comes out as well. It's like it's not even Puppy Bowl time. They just have to put on a Puppy Bowl before the movie.
What they need to put a Crypto cameo in the new Air Bud movie they have coming out, because I mean the marketing just writes itself there.
I think you could collaborate on some level.
Easy opportunity. Synergy.
Yes.
The Air Bud universe and the DC universe combined.
I think it only makes sense. So that was my only kind of gripe about that is I was like, we kind of did these moves last year. But with the Puppy Bowl, we also got a new official sort of photographic image of Crypto where he hasn't quite fit into his dog collar.
Oh, he's so small.
So he's a little teeny tiny at the moment, and he's got a big dog collar, but so they do have a character poster for him. I am okay with this being related to the Puppy Bowl, but I hope so. Previous to that, with the NFL playoffs, we got Lobo. We got a lot of Lobo. Too much Lobo, in my opinion. that was enough Lobo. We're done with Lobo. I don't want to see
you guys like Lobo.
And then we've gotten a lot of Crypto now, and so I hope the next thing we get is, I don't know, about Supergirl. I would be into that.
That'd be pretty cool.
I would really like that. So that is my only real complaint about that. But we did get some new footage from the movie about Crypto and him as a puppy and how he meets Kara. So that is
I saw a comment in the chat from In the Rye who says, I find it very funny how much they're pushing Crypto in the marketing, considering the beginning of the comic. Like, look at this cute dog who definitely won't get hurt.
This is a time to do the Does the Dog Die.com.
Don't worry about Crypto. Everything's gonna be fine. He's gonna have a great time the whole movie.
It's really bordering on false advertising.
We're just luring people in. So the last clip to talk about from the Puppy Bowl, or as I will call it, the Crypto Puppy Bowl, was a video release with Millie Alcock surrounded by puppies.
Yeah, which was fun. It was fun to see Millie, but again, they have done this before. Melissa Benoist did this very similar thing back, I think, in 2016 when the show was still like being promoted as being on CBS. And so some of this marketing, I was like, am I going back 10 years? Have we gone back in time? What is happening? Are they just redoing something? So I was like, this is great.
People love puppies, Rebecca.
People love Supergirl and puppies, I guess, which is
Supergirl and puppies is a natural combination, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I just kind of was hoping to see something new and different. So so if you've never seen it, Melissa Benoist did a kind of a Supergirl trivia game. She had to answer questions about Supergirl while being surrounded by puppies, and she could not handle it. And then Millie Alcock got to play with some puppies while talking about the Puppy Bowl. So links are in the description. We'll put them in the audio podcast show notes as well, so you can go check those out if you would like to. So I'm just hoping that maybe do something fresh, do something new with the marketing is all I'm saying. Like, let's try something different.
The one thing I did like that I saw about the Puppy Bowl is that they said that they were like going to cover adoption fees. As part of the marketing, which I thought was really cool. And also, like, yes, you should go adopt a puppy.
I think that's really heartfelt. That's a really
beautiful.
It's a great thing for them to do. But also, could they take that money and do something more creative with the marketing. Like
With every puppy you adopt, they just hand you a copy of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, the comic. They're like, I'm sorry, I'm not like a comic person. It's like, you are now.
I do feel like even though he's not making this film, it's still part of his universe. I feel like James Gunn, for every like property, has to have that like animalish or fantasy character-ish mascot. And Crypto's, I mean, I'm a lifelong Crypto fan. I'm great that he's out there and he's on the side of like orange bags and all that kind of stuff for sure. But yeah, James Gunn definitely has his tricks, like a Peacemaker had Eagly, you know.
Eagly.
I think it's smart, given that Crypto will play a much bigger role in the Supergirl movie than in the Superman movie. I feel like a more emotional role. I think it's fair to say there. So I think it's good to see it, but you know, I mean, if they don't spend six figures putting a Supergirl up on the Shard building in London for a day, I'm going to be upset. If we're going to redo stuff, you better hang Supergirl up there on that building in London. So so I'm just kind of hoping they will do something a little different and creative with the marketing. Now, Morgan, you dropped out for a second, but you're back now. So good. Okay. Well, so we'll see what happens in the future. I assume we're going to be getting some official trailer. We haven't gotten like a trailer. People don't know the actual story yet. Hopefully we'll get a trailer in the next, month. I mean, we're almost 3.5 months out. June 2026.
It's coming up.
Yeah. So we better get something new, I think.
They're holding back trailers lately. Like the new Spider-Man, I think, is supposed to have a trailer or something too, isn't it? And it hasn't had anything yet.
Yeah, I think the best way to get me more hyped, you got to tease that Comet, the super horse. You got to put him in there. You got to bring it in.
It's time. Did we miss the Kentucky Derby?
That would be something. That would be pretty creative.
The Comet Kentucky Derby.
I mean, if we're going to do that with Crypto during the Puppy Bowl, I think that would actually make a lot of sense. That's in May, by the way, the first weekend in May. So perfect.
Okay, we can make this happen.
I think that's when you drop the final trailer and then you just let the Comet just let it loose.
I feel like they could afford to rename one of the horses Comet.
Yeah.
The like, final trailer,
the NASCAR. They've got like a big Supergirl symbol on the side of the horse.
The final trailer is just a Comet reveal where it's like a panning camera going up around Comet and like, you know, Comet will be back or debuts.
Comet debuts. Everybody Rebecca and I gasp. Everybody else is like, what?
We're so hyped, and everybody else is like, what is that? Who cares? But yeah, so that I think would get me more jazzed for things in the future if they decided to do that. But hopefully in the next coming weeks, months, we'll get some new stuff from the Supergirl movie for 2026. Okay, so we've talked about some of the news. That's kind of the most that we have recently. So I think we need to get into Supergirl 1996 to 2003 annual number 1. And I had to go back and look at some of the historical context for this, because if you read the Peter David Volume 1, the Volume 1 of his run, these 3 issues are at the end. And it's like, what are they doing here? Because it's not even written by Peter David.
It was confusing.
Yeah. So I had to go back and do a little bit of digging to figure out kind of what this was about. What are we talking about? Why are these things here? So one of the things that I usually do when I don't know something about Supergirl is I go over to comicboxcommentary.blogspot.com. This is a Supergirl experts blog. His name is Ange, and Ange has been on the podcast. And if I don't know it, I know that Ange does. So I went over to check out his review of Supergirl annual number 1 just to see what he was saying about the historical context. And Ange says that the summer when this annual was released, all of the annuals in DC Comics were actually under the trade dress called Legends of the Dead Earth. The annual's cover date for Supergirl's is June 1996, putting it at 2 months before Showcase 96 number 8 and 3 months before the beginning of the actual Peter David scripted Supergirl title. So it's an annual before the actual book is released. And I think that is important for us to keep in mind, because if this annual, these 3 issues, came before the actual Peter David run started, it's kind of curious, maybe after we talk about the 3 issues, to note that it seems like, this is my speculation, I wish maybe I could talk to Chuck Dixon about this because I couldn't find anything on the internet, but it seems like either Chuck Dixon knew what Peter David was going to write, or maybe Peter David kind of gave him little talking points to weave into his stories, because some of the things in these 3 issues of this annual number 1 seem to be leading us into the Peter David story of Supergirl. So that's something to keep in mind. So it's kind of weird that they put it in with the trade of the Peter David run. It seems like you would need to keep that separate, but it is curious how these 3 issues were actually predating the Peter David run that we're talking about. Bill, did you have any experience with the Dead Earth stuff?
No, not really. Like I think this was like maybe a year or 2 after the Elseworlds annuals, and I loved those. I loved Bloodlines was okay. Armageddon 2001 was amazing. This is one I don't, for whatever reason, I just could never get it. I never got into, maybe it's because I was in high school getting into theater and stuff at the time. Didn't have as much time for comics, but a very interesting approach. I did like the fact that it was like 3 shorter stories kind of all strung together and everything. But, and I thought it was interesting because back at this time, it was almost verboten to reference the Silver Age Supergirl at all. And I believe the first story in this one is almost like an homage to Silver Age Supergirl.
Yeah, you see her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, it was an interesting comic to read. By the same token, it was a very getting on the tired end of 90s comic, like very scratchy artwork, big splash pages without a lot of story going on, bad dialogue, that sort of thing. But it's a product of its time for sure.
Yeah, I think it's important for us to remember that these are sort of Elseworld stories. These are legends that the characters are telling about Supergirl. So I think the idea is this is sort of a distant future, a far off future, where people in these stories are reminiscing or telling the legend of Supergirl. So it might not be quite right. We can maybe talk about what some of these characters think about Supergirl. But that's kind of the concept of these 3 issues. It's that they are sort of alternate history or Elseworld stories in the Legends of the Dead Earth time frame in DC Comics, and they predated the Peter David run. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started into the first story, which is titled The Surrogate. And the reason that all of this Dead Earth stuff sort of got in my mind is because I was like, Chuck Dixon, what? So it was written by I know Chuck Dixon from like the Birds of Prey stories and everything. So this was written by Chuck Dixon, pencils by Ron Wagner, inks by Bill Reinhold, lettering by Gaspar Saladino, which in the credits, they only wrote Gaspar, which I thought was funny. Like he was so big, he didn't need his last name in there.
Like Madonna.
Kind of like Madonna. So Gasper did the lettering. Colors by Roberta Achuse. Separations by Digital Chameleon. So I need to go and look up comic book separations, what that meant.
Yeah, exactly. I had no idea what that meant either.
That's the first time I've seen that in a comic book credit. So I'm going to have to dig into that later. And the edits were by Chris Duffy. So those are the people in charge of this issue. So the story starts out with what looks like a mad doctor. You can tell he's a mad doctor because he's got crazy glasses on. They're actually kind of cool. I hated to like the mad doctor's glasses, but he is a mad doctor working on an experiment, and he's yelling for someone to bring him a healthy subject, or what they call a tool jerk, as they're called in this story. 2 soldiers bring him a young blonde woman against her will. So this is a bad guy because he's experimenting on this young blonde woman. The doctor instructs them to hold her still because he has to hit the cortex center with his injection on, or else there will be further delays. The subject starts dreaming, or what the doctor refers to as a fugue state. And in this state, the subjects are more open to making the adjustment to their new tasks. With the wave amplifier, there's a lot of like sciencey mumbo jumbo things in this issue because they're experimenting on people. So there's something called the wave amplifier that's in action. And we find out that this subject, this young blonde woman, her name is Chrissia, which I think is how you pronounce it. And the Mad Doctor has made her come online. So what I got out of this issue is that they are experimenting on her, putting her mind in sort of like an online sort of internet-y space, and her body is still in this lab. So that, I think, is my understanding of this issue. In her mind, Chrissia is outdoors and she's in outer space swinging on a line and pretending to fly. She wants to go to Luna Land, which I guess is kind of like a Disneyland. So I'm kind of curious
but with moon stuff, probably.
Moon stuff. Yeah. So I wish we had gotten to see Luna Land, but we never do. But she wants to go to Luna Land to fly in 0G and be like Supergirl, but her dad can't afford it. Luna Land, I guess, like Disney World, is pretty expensive.
Kind of expensive. Lots of upcharges at Luna Land.
No matter how far you go, theme parks are always going to nickel and dime you to death.
They're all the same.
So Chrissia tells her dad that her mom, who it sounds like her mom is no longer with us in this story, told her about Supergirl and asks her dad to tell her a story about Supergirl. So she's wanting her dad to tell her a story. And so he does, and he starts it out with Once Upon a Time on Earth. Chrissia's dad says that there was a girl named Supergirl who was very beautiful and she could fly and she was very strong. Chrissia asks her dad, was she like an angel, Daddy? And he replies, like an angel in heaven. According to Chrissia, Supergirl could live forever and nothing could hurt her, like up in heaven. So clock the use of angel.
Yeah, I noticed that immediately, and I was like, this was before the Peter David run?
Yes, so it is a little curious. So maybe as we go, we'll maybe talk about some of the things that maybe were Peter David hints. So back in reality, sorry, Bill, did you have something you wanted to mention?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I know that the Superman room at DC Comics back in the 90s was very, very tight. So I would not be surprised if, he was maybe, picking up on some things he had heard bounced around that, where the character was going. And maybe we'll try him out here, see if people hate it. If people hate it, then we'll do something else,
Yeah, they probably communicated with each other on some level. So back in reality, this Mad Doctor is talking to the tool jerk to calm her down. Her readings are such that she needs to, quote, relax and let the program work, unquote. The subject's body is in high orbit on Mine Core. So there's like a mine thing going on in the story. But her mind is on the surface of Praxis 9, where the atmosphere is mostly methane and the surface temperatures are close to 1,000 degrees. So very hot where she is. If Chrissy can't see the benefit of being a good little tool jerk, the doctor and his soldiers will pull the plug on her or access her brain's pain centers. So she doesn't really have a choice in this. I don't know where he found her, but she is being experimented on, and he doesn't care really whether she lives or dies.
Doesn't feel like a volunteer situation.
I don't think volunteered for this. The doctor, and she's actually not the only one. We find out later there are lots of people in this experiment. The doctor tells Chrissia, quote, it's easier on everyone if you develop a healthy work ethic now, unquote, and that as long as she cooperates, she can live a long and unpleasant life. No more pain, fatigue, worries. She'll be healthy and strong and useful as long as her brain remains alive. And back in the online world, Chrissia has created a new body for herself. I guess you can kind of do whatever you want to in this online world. The doctor describes this new body as being, quote, pure platinum, unquote, and she is covered in armor. She learns that anything she needs can be formed from her own mass. So she kind of can create whatever she wants. The tool jerk nickname becomes understood at this point because Chrissia in her new body joins her comrades to cut from the Praxian surface. So they actually actually have a job. They're trying to cut into the surface. They are supposed to load the ore onto the transfer platforms. This is a lot of science, like sci-fi Momo Jumbo, onto the transfer platforms where it's shipped to a matter cannon. From there, it's shot into low orbit and gathered by the company's refinery ships. So I don't know exactly what they were doing, but that sounds like something important. At this moment, and in reality, Chrysia screams, "No!" So she is very upset. And Chrysia, we find out the reason that she has screamed no is because R.I.P. she has died. Well, at least her body has. Even though the tool jerk usually goes idle when the quote flesh subject dies, the doctor and his goons are still getting readings from her unit. Something is still happening. They're still active and getting stronger. This mad doctor is thrilled with this result, though. He's so excited because if they can recreate this phenomenon, they can cut the cost by billions. So really, he doesn't care about Chrysia. He's just looking at the dollar bills on how he can actually make this a little better as an experiment. So the doctor and his team notice that Chrysia's unit is in flux and it's changing structure. Something is changing. She changes herself into a girl. So they are really shocked by this. Oh my gosh, why would she change herself into a girl?
I love the caption on the page here. It just says, "A girl."
A girl.
Chrysia's entire intellectual and emotional self now resides in that tool jerk. So her body is dead and everything is in this tool jerk in this online world. All her past, all her loves, all her hatreds, and all her fantasies. And at the moment of saying fantasies in the comic, Chrysia creates an S on her chest. So maybe she always wanted to be Supergirl. This now, the doctor was really excited about saving billions of dollars. But this, seeing the S shield, is scaring the doctor. He directs his team to have the other units destroy her. He can't have a renegade tool jerk on site. Chrysia, as this new version of what we know as Supergirl, begins to fight the other tool jerks because they're kind of coming at her. But she's faster than they are, and the quote a wave amperage unquote is killing the other subjects. The doctor needs to isolate Chrysia, but he doesn't seem too worried because after all, she's no danger to the facility. She's trapped on the surface. She's still there in the online world. Unless, though, he let it be known that there is something called the matter cannon, and that could mess him up. So she knows about this matter cannon because he told her, and the matter cannon becomes something that is going to help her. So the doctor tries to shut the matter cannon down because he's like, oh no, if she gets into this matter stream, she can kind of come out of the online world and back into our reality. So he tries to shut it down, but it's too late. It takes hours to stop and days to restart. The concern for Chrysia with the matter cannon is that there is a chance she'll be destroyed in the matter stream. So she's taking a chance here. She can go in this thing called the matter stream, which is a very sci-fi, sciencey mumbo jumbo. So she could go into the matter stream. She could die, though. She could be destroyed, but she could come out of it and be able to come into our real world. So like Supergirl, who is very beautiful and very strong and could fly, Chrysia flies into the matter stream. And this action from her causes the doctor and his team to cry out that they are under attack. So they have been separated from this online world until now. Chrysia, who has flown through the matter stream and survived, has seemingly merged back with reality. She flies through their spaceship and comes face to face with the doctor and his team. And so let me pull that up because I have an overlay for that. So she is attacking the doctor and his team due to the wind blowing through their space now because things have been crashed open and space air is sort of coming in and out. The doctor loses his grip and floats out into space. So he kind of goes out there like the movie Gravity. So he is out in space now. In a moment of reflection, I thought this was kind of a nice panel in the story. The Supergirl version of Chrysia that she creates for herself stops and actually finds and looks at the lifeless human body that has died, her own human body. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So Chrysia proceeds to punch her way through the ship. If she gets to the power core, it's goodbye to the mine platform. The Doctor soldiers try to shoot her, but everything is bouncing right off of her. She opens a door marked danger radiation. So something something is very bad behind that door. And she opens a door, the door that's marked danger radiation, and there is a massive explosion. And she is consumed by the flames, and she hears her father's words repeated to her, quote, like an angel in heaven. So clock the flames and the angel part. So Chrissy is in space now. She's gone through the matter stream. She's defeated all the bad guys. And the issue ends with Chrysia as this pure platinum Supergirl flying triumphantly into space and away from those who experimented on her. And she hears the words, quote, and she'd live forever and nothing could hurt her, just like up in heaven, unquote. So that is the first story that I think gives us a little bit of an insight into maybe where the Peter David run is going. So any thoughts about that before we go into the next story?
I thought it was interesting. It reminds me a lot of a Black Mirror episode almost, because there's the technology piece of it. There's like the like the moving your consciousness from one thing into a device and then just going on. What was that one episode with the couple, San Junipero? I think. Yeah, it is, but just has a lot of those vibes in it, which is nice because I mean, with these little short stories, you don't want to get into anything that necessarily is going to leave people wanting to see more from the character. You want kind of a complete, rounded story, the lessons learned, they go off into the future, happy and everything, and it delivers on all of that for sure.
Morgan, do you have any thoughts about this one?
Yeah, I actually really agree with the Black Mirror kind of framing for this one. It did feel very Black Mirror-esque. It's like, the evil business is trying to extract all the value out of a human being to the point where like you're not a human anymore, you're a robot down on a mining planet. And then the twist that she her memories of Supergirl sort of allow her to create a Supergirl identity for herself and to create herself as an alternate Supergirl and destroy this evil corporation, this evil mad scientist, and then sort of just fly off into the sunset, maybe living forever. Who knows?
Yeah, what is she doing now? I kind of want to see the follow-up story.
Me too.
She's gonna go find the Superman who lives in the sun, and then they'll team up. Yeah.
From All-Star Superman, I guess.
Exactly.
Is that who you're referencing? Yeah.
Exactly.
He's still up there cranking something.
He's
survive.
lonely, so maybe she can go visit.
Yeah, if there was one weak point to this story for me, it's just that you don't really need a dead Earth to tell this story. Like this story could happen just from the legend of Supergirl floating around the universe. You don't necessarily need that framing device that all these stories have to tell this story, but it's a fine story as it is, for sure.
Oh yeah, I think you could tell this story anytime with any version of Supergirl, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are going to move on to the second story in this annual, and this one was kind of complicated, I'll be honest with you, because I had to keep up with a lot of characters in this one. So this next story is called "The Legend Lives On," and it was written by Barbara and Carl Kessel. Penciler was Dick Giordano. Inks by George Perez, which I was surprised to see. Letters by Gasper, our friend.
Well, it has
Gaspar.
all the characters in it. So George Perez is the go-to guy, right?
that makes sense. So letters by our friend Gasper, who just goes by the first name. Gasper Saladino, colors by Roberta Tews, and the editor was Chris Duffy. So in this story, we're dealing with some characters who have maybe they're a little bit criminal. They've like stolen some stuff, and on their ship, an alarm has gone off. They think there is an intruder on the ship, and a character named Yola is dead. Yola doesn't even make it off the first page. She is dead. Yola is dead without any wounds and surrounded by a red substance. Even though their life readings, because they're able to take life readings on the ship, show that there is no intruder on board, Yola's last efforts were to draw an S shield. So they're all kind of like, what's going on here? And a Tamaranian character who looks a lot like Starfire, because Starfire is Tamaranian, Her name is Sage, or it could be like a Martian name, like a Saaj, if you wanted to call it that. In my head, I was calling her Sage. So I guess for this purpose, we'll call her Sage. So a Tamaranian character named Sage recognizes it as the symbol for Superman. So Sage thinks that Yola has been trying to draw the Superman as shield. She explains that Superman is a myth from the legend called Earth. So she even thinks Earth is a legend in this story. Yola was trying to tell them something. She was trying to tell them something before she died. And a character named Lidra thinks they are paranoid and that this was all just an accident, said a total accident that Yola died. But the others start to think that they need to investigate whether or not they are dealing with a man or an invisible meta. So Sage suggests that the intruder, her theory is, well, what if it's not a man? What if it's a woman? It could be a woman. After all, the whole family from the House of El wore that symbol. So it could be Supergirl. Sage seems to know a lot about the Kryptonians. Then Sage starts to prove Lidra right, because out of paranoia, she thinks one of them might be Supergirl. So they are all accusing each other of things. So what's interesting about this story to me is that Sage, this Tamaranian character, she actually defines what myths and legends are for the reader. She says that legends are based in fact. And then she starts to explain that Supergirl did, in fact, exist centuries ago. So she knows a lot about Supergirl. And so she's going to tell us a little bit about what she knows. According to Sage, Superman and Supergirl were metas from the doomed planet Krypton, where exposure to kryptonite radiation had given them vast powers, which is an interesting way to explain their powers. Supergirl was the last being to leave the planet after, quote, many valiant but ultimately unsuccessful attempts to save it, unquote. Supergirl joined Superman on Earth, a world with problems similar to Krypton's, to continue their never-ending battle. The issue says, quote, they were in love, of course, unquote, as if that is a totally normal thing to write about Superman and Supergirl. But it is important for us to clock this. So keep this in mind as we go through the Peter David run. We also find out that they have not only gotten married, Superman and Supergirl are married in this retelling from Sage. Not only are they married, but they have a son, Superboy. And when they wanted to relax, Sage even knows about their secret identities. So when they want to relax, when they're just at home, Supergirl could and would shapeshift into her secret identity of Lois Lane. So that feels lazy, but instead of Lois Lane here, it is Lois Lane.
I think it's really funny because the art, like, it looks like she's turning into Superman, like instead of that she's turning into Lois.
A little bit.
Also, Superman in the background there, I think he has an eye patch on.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that too.
He does have an eye patch. Unexplained, though, in this story. Not
a lot's happening visually in this thing.
Yeah.
He's wearing a wife beater and an eye patch, and none of it's explained. So just bear that in mind. This is a very different retelling of Superman and Supergirl. But too bad, even though Supergirl can shapeshift into her Lois Lane secret identity, for Superman, though, he can't morph because the kryptonite radiation affected him differently. So I guess maybe that's why he wears the eye patch. I'm not really sure. So Supergirl has the advantage there with the transforming morphing power. So when Sage mentions the shape-shifting of Supergirl, all eyes on the ship fall on a character named Flexi, who is half Durlan. I don't know what the other half is, but they mention she is half Durlan. And because of that, she can morph. She can sort of shape-shift into other things. So Flexi is denying the secret Supergirl allegation. She's like, no, I know I can morph, but I am not Supergirl. And Flexi says that even if Supergirl were real, she'd be long dead by now. But Sage points out that, well, that's not necessarily true. Supergirl is a self-regenerating protoplasm life form who doesn't age. So
Like everyone knows that.
everyone knows
Everyone
this.
knows that.
She's self-regenerating protoplasm life form. That is how they describe Supergirl. So, in fact, we should point out that this is correct in this story. She, in fact, was active for centuries. She was part of a superhero team called Legion of Titanic Heroes. So very different from the Legion of Superheroes. These are the Titanic Heroes. And after a blood test on Flexi, they do confirm that she has Durlan blood and she's not made of protoplasm. So they have gotten Flexi off the list of potential characters in the story who could be secretly Supergirl. So we're narrowing them down one by one. Lidra turns to accuse Sage of being Supergirl. So Sage seems to know a lot about the Supergirl legend. So this is not like a big leap for Lidra to accuse her. In her defense, though, Sage couldn't be Supergirl because Supergirl wouldn't kill. We all know this. That was the honor code she lived by. So I assume by that, Sage is out there just killing people. So,
Sage is like, if you know one thing about me, you know I be killing people.
I love murder.
So that takes me out of being Supergirl because Supergirl wouldn't do that. So that's leaving more characters kind of out of the running here. So at this point, Lidra has kind of gone out of her mind. She's kind of one of the main characters in this story, and she shoots and turns. She turns and shoots another character named Zip. I'm telling you, there are too many characters in this story. So she's Supergirl wouldn't kill, but Lidra and Sage definitely would. So neither of them, I guess, are Supergirl. So what's interesting is that there is also kind of a mention to a crisis. So Sage grabs the space gun from Lidra that Lidra's been kind of shooting people with, and points it at Lidra's head, telling her about the time that Supergirl went crazy and nearly destroyed the world. And in the story, she says, quote, they called it the crisis, unquote. Sage now accuses Lidra of being Supergirl. So Sage is like, well, maybe you're Supergirl because Supergirl went crazy and now you're going crazy. So Sage and Lidra begin to fight and they knock over some containers full of a red substance, very similar to what happened to Yola at the beginning of the story. So the red substance has now come out again, leaving Lidra on the floor gasping for air. So I don't know what happens to Sage. I don't know if she must be dead at this point. R.I.P. Lidra seems to be the only character left at this point in the story. So when Lidra looks up, she realizes that Yola, from the beginning, Yola's warning was true with the sort of the S shield looking thing, but not in the way they thought. It wasn't actually about Supergirl. It was never about Supergirl. The symbol Yola was trying to draw before she died was the symbol for psychotropic chemicals, which may cause extreme aggressions, delusions, and paranoia. And that's kind of how we end that story, is that everyone was just succumbing to a psychotropic chemical and accusing each other of being Supergirl, and then they all died. End of story.
It was a big teen sci-fi soap opera set in the future about the importance of logo design.
Yes.
Yes.
And being unique in your logo design. Yeah.
Yes.
You want to check that no one else is using your brand.
That's actually very important. Maybe if they had recognized what the psychotropic chemical was at the beginning, maybe they could have thrown it off the ship. So yeah, they just jumped onto the Supergirl thing. It's really all Sage's fault, I think, because she's the one who's like, well, that's definitely a Superman symbol. So
yeah,
I think we should just blame her. So that is a story that sort of has another sort of Peter David run on Supergirl hint with the Superman and Supergirl stuff. So
really?
What's
gonna happen in this run?
I don't want to spoil you, but just remember it.
Terrified now.
Just put it in your mind.
nobody should make justifications for it. What happens? There are justifications for it. No one should make them. They exist.
So to me, that's the kind of the main Peter David thing to get out of this story is the Superman, Supergirl stuff.
I like that Bill's like, I'm not defending it. I'm just saying there is a defense for it.
It's my favorite comic run. It's abhorrent, but
Yes.
That's hilarious. Well, I'm even more excited and scared to dive deeper into the Peter David run now.
We've got a lot of ground to cover before we
sure
get to that. So Morgan, will you take us through the last story in this annual?
Sure. So the last story in the annual is called Shootout at Ice Flats, and it was written by Joe R. Lansdale and Neil Barrett Jr. Sorry, pencils by Robert Turnereschi, inks by Stan Walk, lettering by Gaspar Celandino, colors by Roberta Twos. Separation
Twos is how I say it, but I don't know if that's right. Yeah.
Separations by Digital Chameleon. We really do have to figure out what that means. And then edits by Chris Duffy.
Hey, if you guys want, I can interject here real quick and tell you what separations are.
Yeah. Please.
I don't want to get too technical because I might get it wrong, but basically like there's like screen printing, and it involves like printing a layer of one color, then a layer of another color on top of that. So the separations are basically where you take like, okay, these are all the green values that you'll need to print on. Then these are all the like the reds and the blacks, that sort of thing. So that's how they used to do printing like that, is they would do it in layers like that. So the separator just separates out the colors after the penciler, inker, colorist are all done with it, so it can be printed, with the really high-end print stuff. So.
That is good to know.
That's cool.
I'm going to see if I can find a video of that later to see if we can find out, like if somebody has a visual of how that was done. But thank you, Bill, for that explanation.
I guarantee 70% of it's correct. That other 30%, I claim no responsibility over whatsoever.
That sounds right. I think that checks out.
It sounds right, and I believe you. So the story starts on Bone Chill 4, which is 22,000 light years west of nowhere, it says. So pretty far out. In a bar, a man named Billy Fred Bob, which I want to note is too many first names in one name, is getting drunk and belligerent with the bartender. The bartender says he can't serve old Billy Fred Bob, and a blonde woman wearing what looks like an Old West type outfit with a sheriff's star says that Ice Flats is a family town, and she aims to keep it that way. So we're getting Old West. We're going Old West immediately. Things are getting Old West. So it turns out that the blonde is the sheriff, and Billy Fred Bob backs off right away and apologizes. And she tells everyone to behave themselves because they don't need to get rowdy to have fun. But at just that moment, the doors slam open, which knocks over Billy Fred Bob, and in walks a bunch of herfs. Which are like, they're kind of like Minotaur-ish looking aliens. They've got like horns and things. The blonde says that the herfs and humans have been stuck on ice flats together for as long as anyone can remember, and that these creatures are just as welcome as anyone else. The main alien, Jake, whose name is Jake, as it would be for any crazy looking Minotaur alien, is just like, he's like, hey, it's me, Jake. He says he's not good at behaving himself, and then I'm not really sure what happens. I think maybe he pinches her butt or slaps her butt. I was unclear.
I had trouble as well with some of this art, trying to figure out kind of what was happening.
I'm trying to like interpret it, like holding it to the light, looking at different angles. I was like, I don't know what I'm seeing here.
A lot of 90s comics art is like the artist just took like a pen and went, and,
something happens, and then and then something else happens. So because of whatever Jake did, Jake's a scoundrel. The blonde hits him in the face, and he says that she'll be sorry she did that because his sister Curly will be after her. Now, Curly is like a good name, I think, for like a minotaur-looking creature. Jake, not so much. He tells her to face she's gonna have to face Curly noon tomorrow, straight up or get out of town. Again, Wild West. She says she doesn't go looking for violent encounters, but she's not going to back down from one. So outside the bar, the blonde is now talking to a man in glasses named Roy. I don't know if his name was introduced in this panel or if, like, at the very end of the story, like we were supposed to know who he was. But I went back and I put his name in. You know, why not? I was like, who is anyone here? He says she's stretched too thin, being both the school marm, I guess it's a school teacher, and the sheriff. So she is the town's school teacher and sheriff, which both seem like pretty big jobs that would take a lot of your time.
That don't seem to have to do really with each other.
No,
so
I don't
think
think
double duty in different
Venn diagrams. Not really touching.
I guess both are in like a net positive to the town. So I mean,
yeah, I'm sure she's popular. Like a lot of people must know her.
Yeah, a lot of people know her. Yeah, for sure.
He also says that Jake's sister is a mean old sow. So another creature tells the blonde that they're not all filled with hate like Jake. Wow, everyone's just really dunking on Jake. The blonde tells this creature, whose name is Jess. Come on now. We got to think of more fun names for these guys. That she knows this and that a lot of humans are rascals as well. Back at home, we finally learn that the blonde's name is Eileen. Her father says that their people are toolers, not fighters. They're meant to build things. Her mother suggests that she leave town for a little while, but Eileen refuses. She says she was elected by the people, so I guess there's elections in this town as well. Did they elect her to be the teacher too? She should stop running for things.
It's too much.
It's too much. Eileen, it's too much. Eileen, take care of yourself. Self-care. Her mother is like, it's time for you to leave town. Eileen's like, no, I can't. The people elected me. My campaign was so good. And then so she says she can't just run. Besides, she tells her little sister that once you start running in life, there's nowhere to stop, which is very deep.
It is true.
So she agrees to herself, though, that she's like she's a tooler. She's not a fighter. But she does find a gun weapon in the house. Her mother gives her another weapon to fight with, a much on the surface less useful one. It's like a necklace with like a star necklace. It's like, what am I going to do with this? It's been in the family for a long time. She says, legend says that strength will come to anyone who wears it. Why? Well, it's a star with a Supergirl shield in the middle. So you're like, oh, it has something to do with Supergirl. Maybe not. Her mother says it's an S for Sardine Girl, who was a real hero. We all love Sardine Girl. You know how we all have merch of Sardine Girl.
Don't you want to know what her like super suit looked like? What were her powers? What was Sardine Girl's super
I would
powers?
love to know what Sardine Girl's powers would be.
I just want to thank you guys again for having me on Sardine Girl Radio. I really appreciate it.
I mean, we're all excited for the summer of Sardine Girl.
Yeah. Is her would she be packed in like a sardine thing?
What if she just like bursts out of it and there's
Like,
just a bunch of them in there?
Is that, like,
A bunch
the
of Sardine Girls.
Or like that's her, like she's a vampire and that's her. No, that's too complicated. That's too many things on top of it. Yeah.
Well, are we gilding the lily of Sardine Girl?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's Sardine Girl. Just go with it.
Sardine. We just gotta accept it. We do learn about the legend of Sardine Girl, and it's weirder than you would think, because she was made out of super scientific mud. You see.
Sure. That makes sense.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I accept, I guess. poor thing, her mom says. She then says a piece of her is supposed to be inside this pendant, and it'll give you powers, her powers like telekinesis. Eileen's glad she has the gun as she puts on like the Supergirl / Sardine Girl shield necklace. The next day, Eileen is waiting for the showdown. The townspeople, obviously, they're all out there. They're like, "Oh my god, drama! It's happening." I'm assuming like not a lot happens in this town if it's small enough for her to be both sheriff and school marm.
They don't see a lot of action. No,
I don't think they see a lot of action. The townspeople don't even think that Curly is going to show up. But guess what? She does. And Curly she's got it on, right? She's like, I'm coming correct to this showdown. So she's got like she's like her little minotaur creature. She's in like a full brown outfit. She's got a giant belt buckle. She's like, it's the Wild West, everyone. You have to know that now. Eileen introduces herself as Sheriff Eileen P. Garrett of Ice Flats and tells her to lay down her weapons and leave the town peaceful like. Curly then hits her in the face with a rock that she launches from, I'm not sure. I'm going to say a slingshot, but I'm honestly not sure where the rock is launched from. At first, I thought it was like, did she hit her with a whip? But why is she getting hit in the face with a rock?
Yeah, it does seem like there is some sort of like slingshot looking thing.
Once again, as Bill said, the art in here, not super good when
Unclear.
You're trying to figure out what's happening sometimes.
It doesn't really have a flow to it. Like there's a lot of stuff, but there's no real sense to it. Like
she does something, and then all of a sudden Eileen's like, my face, and you're like, okay. So at that point, Eileen is like, okay, I've asked nicely, but now I got to bring out the big guns. But unfortunately for her, the big gun is actually a staple gun. And when she shoots the big gun, just like a couple little staples just like fall out. They don't even get close to Curly. They just kind of fall into the air and then hit the ground. And then Curly laughs. She laughs. Her belt buckle laughs. And then she just hits Eileen in the face with another rock, which is pretty rough. Eileen's really having a day. Eileen gets really upset and she falls to the ground. And she says she's got to face them down, or being sheriff don't mean nothing at all. At that moment, the Supergirl shield lights up and words show up that say, strength comes to those who have the courage to believe. Now, did Eileen see those words? Are only we seeing those words? Again, I don't know. But they did show up.
maybe it's like talking to her. Do you think it could be?
Yeah, that's kind of what I got.
Okay. Oh, the telekinesis. Okay. Yes.
Or could it be like telepathy and telekinesis are different, right?
Maybe it's just like if you wear that thing, you get like daily affirmations like inside your brain.
It reminded me of some artistic interpretations I've seen of like Moses in the burning bush. Like it'll just be the flaming words. Yeah, floating in the air.
Yeah, because we see like flames, and it's just like, and the Supergirl shield, of course. I mean, I'm so sorry, the Sardine Girl shield. While we see those words, and then suddenly Eileen is engulfed in flame. She's surprised that suddenly the staple gun is working because thanks to the Supergirl shield, the staple gun has begun shooting out what looks like giant staples. And now the giant staples are hitting Curly. Curly is like, that's it for me. I'm not playing this game with these giant staples. And then Curly jumps on what looks like a giant like dinosaur creature and then rides it away from the fight, which, listen, I want to go more into like the herf culture here. They ride dinosaurs?
It's really weird because I feel like this one in particular is influenced by a couple of like really kind of bad 90s cartoons. One is On ABC, Cowboys of Moo Mesa, everything at the beginning with all those cowboy-like, cow-like cowboys, the steers, Cowboys of Moo Mesa all day long. And then there was also one called Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, where it was like cowboys riding dinosaurs and the cowboys driving cars. So it feels like, the author of this one just like took two of the big kids cartoons that were selling a bunch of toys for a second and mashed them up into one story.
I think it was the 90s. I did want to let you know because I had never heard of the Cowboys of Moo Mesa, and so I immediately Googled it, and one of the first results is a Reddit thread that says Cowboys of Moo Mesa wasn't a fever dream.
Thank you for the confirmation. I do get worried about that. Sometimes I'll remember a show like that and I'll be like, that couldn't have been real. I'll look it up.
That can't be a real thing.
I think it's been revived as of last summer. There's a new Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
They're bringing it back.
They're bringing it back.
They're running back Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
Well, it was like one of the Everly Heights tales, plug, that I'm doing has a biker mice from Mars reboot as a major plot point. I wrote it like 5 years ago.
Oh my
Since
God.
I originally wrote that plot point, they're doing it now. Like there's a biker mice from Mars reboot coming out, like I think this year or something like that.
I also had never heard of biker mice from Mars. I didn't know this was a thing either. I've missed so much great culture.
Well, I mean, the mythology of 90s cartoons is just there. I mean, it's definitely there.
Yeah. It felt like in 90s cartoons, you like picked an animal, you picked a vocation, you just shoved them together. It didn't even make sense. They didn't even need to make sense. They were just like, you're a cow. What if you were a cowboy?
Yeah, there are Cowboys in Moo Mesa comics too. So there's a lot of Cowboys in Moo Mesa material out there for you to consider.
If you want to dig into the lore.
Believe it or not, I actually have read 4 or 5 issues of the comic.
Nice.
Back then. I haven't gone back to it. But
well, there's a reboot. You've got more to dig into because I did Google this.
There's new stuff as of 2025. So you gotta get on the new stuff.
There was a comic series from Oni Press. So
fresh new Moo Mesa.
Fresh new Moo Mesa.
I'd like to announce now my Cowboys of Moo Mesa fan podcast that's coming out.
I would listen to that.
In about 3 hours after I read the comics.
You're getting right to it immediately after this. Okay, so Curly's gone. Giant dinosaur runs away. Really taking those 90s cartoons. So at this point, our boy Roy, who I now finally has a name, is name dropped at this point in the comic at least, tells Eileen that the Tool packs one heck of a wallop and wants to talk to her about it. She says she may need this gun thing again. I mean, how many standoffs does she really have in her?
How many staples she got for that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, do you have enough staples in that staple gun? While she's talking, the Supergirl star necklace that she has seems to fall off her neck and into her little sister's outstretched hands, and then it lights up. And as the issue ends, the little sister can be seen alone in her cloak on the ice planet, kind of lit up, and the text around her reads, "If you have the courage to believe, the strength will come. When it's time, the strength will come." So I guess the little sister is got the sardine girl powers at the end, but the older sister got a giant staple gun, so it's sort of a wash, I guess. There's a comment from Stanley in the chat that Stanley says, "This is a little similar to Woman of Tomorrow." Stanley, come on. Is it?
So there are dinosaurs in Woman of Tomorrow.
That's true. Okay. All right.
And there are, it is set in a Western.
That's true.
It's a Western genre. Space Western is the genre. So I think Stanley, that's a fair
really
point.
Only missing the staple gun.
Yeah. That's what would have made Woman of Tomorrow just so good.
Just one little bit better.
When I read Woman of Tomorrow, I thought it was an adaptation of this, my favorite Supergirl story.
Yeah, so I think the major thing to pull away from this in the vein of the Peter David run is Supergirl and the Flame. So I would maybe hold on to that as we go through the Peter David run. So yeah, these three stories are kind of an interesting sort of what if sort of Elseworld take on Supergirl. I don't really care for Sardine Girl. I don't think that's it's not an image I want to have in my head.
Just because she's made of mud?
Yeah, it's not a real pretty version of it, I don't think. But these are different takes on kind of what would a legend of Supergirl be like if people were telling the legend of Supergirl kind of, far off into the future after Supergirl has been active. So this is kind of interesting for me to revisit because I read these volumes of the Peter David run 7 years ago now, 7 or 8 years ago. And so having to revisit it now as we go through the podcast has been really interesting because when I read it by myself, I had no idea about that historical context about the legends of the Dead Earth. And so now trying to research it for the podcast, it's much more interesting to me because of the connection of the fact that this was actually pre-Peter David run and it's hinting towards things that we're going to be seeing. I think probably, I can't remember if some of this is in volume 2, but it will start to come as we progress through the series. So Morgan, what are your sort of overall thoughts about these 3 issues?
Yeah, these ones were a little weird. Yeah, I thought that they were kind of fun. Each one had its own like little thing. I think if I had to like pick a favorite, it would weirdly be the second one. Like I thought it was really funny how they were all just like turning on each other because like one person happened to know a fact about Supergirl. They're like, well, then you're Supergirl. It's kind of like playing Among Us during the pandemic where you're like, who's sabotaging this? Like no one.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I think I would the second one is a pretty good one. At least that sort of made sense. There was like a clever twist.
I like the twist at the end, like that we learned things about branding.
Yes.
I feel like that second one would be a big hit with someone who was into like 80s Teen Titans.
Yes.
Or not Teen Titans or like Legion or something like that. That those big younger teen books, I think it felt like that vibe. It's not my particular vibe, but it was a decent execution of the idea.
Does that end with all the Titans killing each other though? That would be a crazy story.
Is that how the Titans ends?
that is the story when you want to write the last ever story of the Teen Titans.
There you go.
That's
Whatever
the last
happened
story.
to the Teen
We've
Titans?
got the ending for you right here.
They all just murder each other out of paranoia. So I think that's how that ends. Bill, what are your thoughts on these 3 stories, or what are your thoughts on it as an annual?
As an annual, interesting. I thought the first story was probably my favorite, but it also was the least necessary to be in this sort of like Legends of the Dead Earth kind of thing. The last one was bad. It wasn't good. I very seldomly am that direct about it, but yeah, it was bad. But
Morgan tried to sell it.
Buckle.
But no, it was interesting, and I'd love to know if there are any of these Legends of the Dead Earth annuals that have some great stories in them, because I think the whole kind of structure and the premise, there's some promise there. It wasn't necessarily fulfilled in the Supergirl issue.
Yeah, I actually went on YouTube to try to find some more information about the Legend of the Dead Earth, because I was like, some YouTuber has gone through this and I can find the history from somebody who's going to present it to me. And I did find a video. I've linked it in the video description of the live stream, and I'll put it in the audio podcast show notes. He reads out a list of every annual that was connected to this Legend of the Dead Earth. And it was a very extensive list. They made a lot of annuals. I should have counted them, but the Supergirl one is just one of many, many. annuals they did during this time. So
Somebody should, and I'm not saying us, not us, definitely, but somebody should like read all of them and then do like a ranked list of like best to worst. Because I want to see where my girl Curly ranks on there.
yeah, I don't know that needs to be us, but maybe in the future, maybe in the future we could just do a whole, At
some point, we're gonna run out of topics, and then
that is when we go through Legend of the Dead Earth. Yes, I agree. I think that would be good.
I'm sure it's probably like the year they did like the Elseworlds annuals, where it was like, there were like 10 that were amazing, there were 10 that were okay, there were 10 that stunk, but there's probably a range of quality in all of these for sure.
Yeah, so I'd be curious to read some of those other ones, just because I wonder if some of those annuals had a similar thing where like the annual preceded a run that it was like teasing.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious if there was something like that with because that's what it's sort of doing for the Peter David run. So that is the 3 issues of the Supergirl 1996 to 2003 annual number 1, and I think that is going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. We knocked them out, and I think we covered it. So this actually is the end of the first volume of the Peter David run. So we did it. We got through the first one. So
we did it.
I'm glad that we're tackling them in this way, because I think it's more efficient to do 3-4 issues at a time. And so we're getting through there. So that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. And Bill, thank you so much for joining us for this episode. It was neat to hear your take on Supergirl, some of these Elseworld stories and annuals, and some of those comic books from that era. So thank you so much for coming back. How can people find you on the internet? Where do you want to point them to?
I'll go ahead and point them to my new audio drama anthology, Everly Heights Tales. You can search for it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. I'll generally do a video after show where I talk a little bit about, kind of do my own dramaturgy about the story, talk about the inspirations, all that kind of stuff. And I will say it's an anthology podcast, a lot of different genres, a lot of different situations. So you can literally just go and look through all of the episodes and find one that looks interesting and start there. So, I recommend the ones that Rebecca was in, which was The Play's the Thing That Traps You, kind of a Twilight Zone episode. And then this week's episode, which is more Valentine's Day themed, Make Your Own Luck.
I'm wondering when Morgan's going to get involved in all this stuff. Am I volunteering her for another voice?
I don't know. There's a Google Doc, a Google form that has not been filled out by one Miss Morgan. So maybe if her name pops up there automagically somehow, it's linked at everlyheights.tv. She'll make it on an episode. Who knows?
Send me the link. I'll fill it out for her.
Nice.
Yeah, because if people don't know, Morgan and I were both voice actresses. Should we call ourselves that?
Sure. Why not?
Yeah, that's what you did. That's what we did.
We were both on Bill's comedy dramedy podcast, The Fakest.
Yeah.
How would you describe The Fakest?
Sketch dramedy with an ongoing plot line, I guess. A broad comedy that is done in a news structure where every episode has the story of the newsroom and then 3 little sketches about different topics that are the news stories of the episode. So
yeah, so if you want to hear Morgan's voice acting, go listen to The Fakest, because
it was a lot of fun.
There was even a scene that we did together. So
that's true.
Yes, yeah. So that was pretty fun that Bill let us do that.
I gotta fill out that form. I gotta
I gotta get you back in the game.
My instrument's rusty, but
Make sure you give me a valid email address and the last 4 of your social, and we'll be good to go.
That sounds legit. I'm not gonna question that at all.
Well, please go check out Bill's stuff, because he is an excellent writer and maybe even a better editor, because he has to take all of those elements together and make them sound listenable, which is very difficult. And Bill, you always do such a good job with that. So highly talented Bill Meeks. So go check out his stuff and support everything he's doing.
I won't disagree.
Yes, no, I say it because I mean it. But if you want to keep up with us at Supergirl Radio, you can post a comment on our website at supergirlradio.com. You can email us at supergirlradio@gmail.com. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on X and Instagram, all at Supergirl Radio. And if you like what we do, we encourage you to give us a rating and write us a review on Apple Podcasts or really anywhere you listen to podcasts where they have a review. Supergirl Radio is also part of the DCTV Podcast and Multiverse of Color Network, so definitely go check those out. And you can hang out with us as we go live and wired on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on the DCTV Podcast YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you have not already. DCTV Podcast also has a TeePublic store, so if you're in need of DC Comics, DC TV, Supergirl related t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, magnets, tote bags, pins, phone cases, pillows, stickers, fanny packs, hats, all sorts of stuff. Now go to supergirlradio.com and click on the TeePublic store link at the top of the page.
And since we talked about crypto, we have some Superdog designs in the DC TV Podcast TeePublic store.
Yeah, I think one of the designs that we have is kind of puppy.
He kind of looks like puppy crypto.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of crypto designs in the TeePublic store. So if you're in need of new merch, because it is becoming fan convention season, it's starting to ramp up. It starts sort of in February and goes throughout the summer and into the fall, really. So you've got lots of opportunities to wear new merch if you need some new stuff. So highly recommend that you go check it out. And we would also like to thank our legion of super sponsors for supporting the Supergirl Radio Patreon. These people are Michael, Sam, Anne Marie, Yvonne, Nicola, Abby, Miriam, Nicole, Brian, Ethan, Majuba, Andy, Rachel, and Kit. If you'd also like to become a legion of super sponsor, you can go to patreon.com/Supergirl Radio and help support the podcast. If you would like to follow me on the interwebs, you can follow me in a couple of places. I'm on Instagram at the Derby Kid. I'm on a platform called Vero True Social, which I kind of share what I've been listening to, what I've been watching. So you can find me over there at Derby Kid. I also have a YouTube channel at youtube.com/duckmilkprod. I have a travel blog that I haven't updated in a while, but maybe one of these days I'll get to it, at Oasis Broom on the social medias. But those are some places that you can check me out if you would like to do so.
And you can find me I'm at Mojotastic, or you can find me as a co-host on the Legendary Ladies podcast, which you can find at the Legendary Ladies on YouTube and Instagram, and at Legends_podcast on Twitter.
So do you all have the next topic figured out?
We really need to get together. It's been crazy for all of us. We need to get together and figure out the next thing that we're going to talk about.
I'm still pushing for Scream 7, a Scream 7 review.
I mean, it's coming out pretty soon.
Can you just talk? Maybe this would be a better, more interesting conversation. Could you talk about the state of movie posters today?
I mean, you don't think that there were enough people on the Scream movie poster?
There were. I counted, like, what was it, 16 people on the Scream 7 movie poster?
And I was like, they could have squeezed in a couple more people, though, right?
That's too many people on a movie poster. It should not exist. So I would love.
Well, they have to put the lighting director on the poster now. That's like a union rule.
I'm fairly sure this is all because they probably have it in their contracts that they're going to be on the poster. I have a feeling that's where this comes from. But I would love it if someone would go through like famous movie posters and why they're excellent or why some of them stink. Because I have a real gripe with modern day movie posters. And so I think that would actually be really interesting. Maybe I'll dig into that some myself.
That is a good topic.
I feel like a lot of movies now do it where they'll do like the Marvel head tree.
Yes.
And then they'll do a more artsy sort of like, painted one or graphic design one or something like that.
I want to go back to just minimalistic stuff. See if you can. Who is that? Who is that?
Bunsen has a lot to say on this topic, apparently.
He is also frustrated at 16 people in a movie poster.
He's like, these modern posters.
Yes. I think we should go back to simpler times. Try to challenge yourselves, movie poster people, to sell a movie based on a very simple design. That's a big challenge that I would like to put forth.
Think of the first Scream movie poster.
I mean, you could do something really cool, and I don't think they're doing it. So I think it's going to be a really great movie. I'm just disappointed with the posters. I'm not hanging up that Scream 7 movie poster with 16 people on the poster. I'm not hanging that up on my wall.
But you'll know the entire cast of the movie, including extras.
That's true. I will have seen everyone in the theater.
You could just go get an original Scream movie poster and then just put a 7 on it, and then there.
That's true. Maybe I'll make my own Scream 7 movie poster.
And then every time that there's a new Scream, you can just take down the 7, you put up an 8.
Got it. Done.
Done and done.
Yeah, so that would be sort of my pitch as an episode for the Legendary Ladies. Why do movie posters suck these days? That would be my question to you.
Good and bad movie posters.
Yes. Although for an audio podcast, it would be difficult to sort of
be tough. We'd have
But
to
you could do it for
describe
the
the
live
movie
stream.
posters. See, there's so many faces on the poster.
Well, then at the end of the episode, you can sing about architecture, and it'll be good.
Yeah.
I think you got it. So I think
dance about a good meal or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I look forward to that episode of the Legendary Ladies. I have talked myself into it that you're doing it. So I will be disappointed if you don't. I'm just kidding. So that's exciting. I look forward to whatever you guys have coming up next. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. But until next time, I'm still Rebecca Johnson.
And I'm still Morgan Glennon, and the legend lives on as we start Volume 2 of the Peter David run.
McGurk! I love typing.
Not mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because her outfit.
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Yeah!